Alright, so I'm going to be doing a vocal tutorial of all three kinds of screams. You got your fries, you have false chords, and you have your inhales, even though everybody hates inhales. So, with the fries and the false chords, they're both going to be exhale type. If you do anything other than that, it's an inhale. And, really, they both come from your diaphragm. And everybody says you gotta use your diaphragm. You gotta know what your diaphragm is, but nobody ever knows what the fuck a diaphragm is. Your diaphragm is this muscle down here. Yeah, everybody says that. Right under your rib cage. Another easy way to realize how to breathe from your diaphragm is, let's say coughing comes straight from your diaphragm. When you you're gonna feel it down here. Another way is if anybody knows how to make themselves wheeze. Like, you get that wheeze in the back of your throat, you breathe and you just push it. You just like that. Another way is what that Melissa Cross does, the fry screaming shit. She's like, you gotta make a hiss and then try to make it louder. And when you make it louder, you're breathing harder, which means you gotta use your diaphragm. So it's normal hiss is just normal breathing. But then when you make it louder using your diaphragm, it'll go more air will come out, and you'll feel it exactly down here. You'll know exactly when you're using your diaphragm because it's different than normal breathing. Now, with the fries use the diaphragm. Fry is actually from a technique. It's called vocal fry. It's I don't know why they call it fry. You're not doing anything harsh on your voice. You're just slowing your voice down. You just take your voice and you slow it down till you get you'll get that. You'll know exactly what it is because everybody knows how to make that noise. It's just you can slow down a hum. When you hum, if you slow it down, you'll get right to that. Just that's a fry. Now, that itself isn't a fry scream. That's just the vocal fry. Now, you're going to have to add your diaphragm, that weird breathing, the sound, with that. And it's going to sound something like, you're going to sound like a pterodactyl, okay? Now, you're halfway there. Most people who do fries, for some reason, don't understand the next step, and they just walk around saying they can scream, and they sound like a pterodactyl. They sound like some prehistoric beast, like no. The next part is something that Mike Haranica does from The Devil Wears Prada. He puts a yell into it. You yell while you're doing it. You take the normal, it's not hard, you do the diaphragm and that sound, and you yell while you're doing it. So let's take, from The Devil Wears Prada, since I'm talking about it, let's take Danger Wild Man, just the little intro. I'm going to do it without diaphragm, or without yelling. Then I'll do it with yelling, and you'll hear the difference. It'll sound so much better. So with the diaphragm, without yelling, it's going to sound something like, I know a ghost! And it's going to be soft, and it's going to suck. But if you add the yelling, like Mike Haranica does, or Austin Carlisle even, what they do is they yell when they do it. So now with yelling, it's, I know a ghost! It sounds so much better. And that's basically fry. Just like everything else, people are always like, drink some water. You take a drink of water, and you're going to understand once you learn how to do it because it's going to dry out your voice. You're going to feel it drying out your throat. It's not going to hurt. It might burn just a bit, but it's not going to hurt. If it hurts, you're doing it wrong. If it burns, you might be doing it right. Try that for like 2 or 3 weeks, and if it still burns, you're probably not doing it right because your body will get used to it. But it shouldn't hurt at all. It should actually kind of come natural for most people. Now, you can do the false chords also, which come from your diaphragm. They're the exhales. Now, I just started on the false chords, so I'm not all that great at it. I can only do growls, and they're mediocre at best right now because I've been doing it for like 3 or 4 days at the best. But, so false chords, basically everybody says you gotta drop your voice box down, and everybody's like, watch my voice box. Well, you can't see my voice box because I'm a fat fuck. Now, your voice box will be right here. It's your Adam's apple if you don't know what that is. And people are always like, well, you can take let's say, take your tongue and bring it as far back as you can, like up and back. And yeah, that'll drop. Your lower jaw will extend out. It's just natural. But an easier way for me to explain how to go into your false chords is your false voice, which is like Yogi the Bear or Patrick Star. So let's take Yogi the Bear. You just talk, well, hey, boo-boo, you wanna go get some picnic baskets? Now, you're going to feel your throat. When you do that, feel it. Well, hey, boo-boo. You're gonna feel your voice box going down. And also do Patrick when he does leedle, leedle, lee. Leedle, leedle, leedle. Yeah, you're gonna look like a retard. You're gonna sound like a retard, but that's how you get into it. Now, most people can do that because that's natural. Most people know how to talk like Yogi Bear. You might not be good at sounding like him. I'm not that great. But you know how to talk like it. Now, you're going to get from that, and while you're down in this voice, you're going to do kind of like a clearing your throat. Everybody says, do a sigh, the sound. That's sort of on the right line, but that's really not it. And then they tell you to use your diaphragm. And most people aren't going to get that. They're going to probably end up like ripping apart their throat down there. And I tried that for so long and it hurt. Once you're in the Yogi Bear, you do like a clearing your throat, like a that kind of noise while you're in the Yogi Bear. So you're gonna go, well, hey, boo boo. That's what it sounds like. It's going to come natural. You'll feel it. It'll be like bubbly down here. It's gonna feel really weird. You can talk like a caveman and you just ooh, ooh. That's caveman shit, I don't know. You do that. It should be pretty easy from there. It might burn, but you got your water. You'll be completely fine. That's really false chords. I'm not that great as it, as you can hear. But that's really it. Now, inhales, everybody's like, oh, don't do inhales. You're a faggot if you do inhales, because everybody knows that you should just man up and do exhales. Well, honestly, if you can't do exhales, but you can still do inhales and you make them sound good, well, good for you. Do whatever the heck do whatever you want. Like, whatever you think sounds good and you're good at, do that. Don't be like, oh, I want to learn this while you can do something else, like a boss. I don't know. Like, I mean, half the people that sit there and are like, you can't do exhales, you can only do inhales, what a faggot. They can't even do inhales, let alone exhales. They're just trolling around YouTube telling people different stupid shit while they can't even do it. Now, inhales they're really easy to teach people because everybody understands, because it's not from your diaphragm, it's not all that crazy breathing stuff that nobody understands. It's just basically like talking, but you inhale it. Like, you know, when you talk, your voice you have like a controlled airflow. It just comes out controlled. It's not all over the place. You're not like, it's like one constant, it's controlled. You take that controlled breathing through your voice box, whatever you want to call it, how you talk, your vocal cords. You do that, and then you talk like that with that controlled breathing, but you do that controlled breathing inhaling it while talking. So let's say you're going to say, since my name's Jake, you're going to be like, hi Jake. So exhale, just normal talking, it's just hi Jake, normal. Then when you inhale it, it's probably going to sound squeaky. It's going to sound something like, hi Jake. It's probably going to make you cough, and it's going to tickle at your throat because your body's not used to it. And that's where everybody's like, oh, it's going to mess up your throat because it tickles and it makes you cough. If you do it where it tickles and makes you cough, yeah, it's going to mess up your throat. But most people just naturally learn how to take that and make it sound more like a scream. When you start, it's probably not going to be all that great either. Most people are able to pig squeal with it before they can do actual lows. You can do the pig squeals, inhales, like you do that. Everybody knows how to do that once they learn how inhales. But I mean, if you know how to inhale really well, you can get like deep guttural lows, like scary type shit. Like if you look up the song "Sniff Silence" by Slam Coke, I mean, those are inhales. Their guitars are tuned down so low, they sound like fucking machine guns. And those are inhales, and they sound brutal as hell. You can get the inhale lows. You just, they sound fine. People are like, oh, it's gonna fuck up your voice. Well, I've been doing them probably since my dad taught me how to do them, actually, with a different noise, an Invasion of the Body Snatchers, like squeaking voice. He taught me how to do that when I was like 6. So I've been doing inhales since I was like 6. And my voice is completely fine. I mean, my voice doesn't squeak, it doesn't scratch, it doesn't hurt. I mean, it's just normal. And I can still do inhales just as well as I did 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, it doesn't mess up your voice. It's really all to screaming. It's really not all that hard. Most people try to think too much about it. Don't think about it. It should just come natural. It should be second nature, because at least with the false chords were used when we were, what, cavemen. They were used as like growling and roaring sounds, kind of like, I don't know, like a dog or a cat can growl. You do that, I mean, people were able to do that, and they did that all the time to scare other people off. They'd roar, kind of like a fucking lion or something. Now, that's really it. It's natural. It's not going to mess up your throat if you do it right. It shouldn't even come from your throat. It should come from down here where your collarbone and these, like, where everything meets at this little tiny, like, indent right here. Everybody knows where that is. It should come right from there. You'll feel it. You'll know exactly what it sounds like. So that's really all my tips. Don't try to do it all the time. Don't try to do it, like, if you start out, don't try to do like suicide silence type highs before you learn anything else, because those are actually going to hurt at first if you're just starting out, because you're not going to know how to do it, and the highs take a lot of pressure and a lot of air, and you're probably going to fuck it up. So just try it low, drink some water, and just, if something doesn't click, just try a different thing. Just be persistent about it. If you actually want to learn how to scream, just be persistent like I was. Like, I had no idea how to false chord scream until a few days ago when somebody taught me, because everybody says all that sighing stuff. And I mean, with the way that I learned, I mean, if anybody can learn the way that if I could learn the way that I did, anybody could, because I'm an idiot. But if you're persistent and you are resolute on learning how to scream, you will learn how to scream. It just comes natural. It's not that hard. So that's my tips. Once again, drink water. Eventually you might not even need water because your voice will get used to it. But that's really it.